History is written by the survivors, but the truth lies in the dust. This is where the legends hide.
In this video, you'll see how a Mormon farm boy became the leader of the most successful outlaw gang in American history. You'll see how his gang robbed banks and trains across 3 states without killing a single person in the process. You'll see the massive manhunt that forced him to flee the country entirely. And you'll see the mysterious ending that historians still argue about more than a century later, because nobody actually knows for certain how his story ends. But before any of that, before the legend, before the Pinkerton file with his name on it, he was just a boy named Robert Leroy Parker, growing up dirt poor in Utah. Robert Leroy Parker was born in 1866 into a large Mormon farming family in Utah. Money was scarce, and as a young man, Robert left home to find work on ranches across the West. It was there that he crossed paths with an experienced cattle rustler, an outlaw named Butch Cassidy, who taught him how to handle cattle and how to steal them. Robert admired the man so much that he eventually took his last name for himself. Robert Parker was gone. Butch Cassidy had arrived. Cassidy's early years as an outlaw involved horse and cattle theft, and in 1894 he was finally caught and sentenced to 2 years in a Wyoming prison for stealing horses. Instead of breaking him, prison shaped him. He came out with a plan, not for reckless, violent crime, but for carefully organized robbery, run almost like a business. What he built next would become the most successful outlaw operation the American West had ever seen. Cassidy assembled a loose group of outlaws that came to be known as the Wild Bunch, including a skilled gunman named Harry Longabaugh, better known as the Sundance Kid. Unlike many outlaws of the era, Cassidy planned his robberies meticulously, scouting escape routes and hiding fresh horses along the way to outrun any posse that might follow. And unlike almost every other gang of the period, Cassidy had one strict rule that made him famous across the frontier.
Cassidy was widely known for avoiding bloodshed whenever possible. Bank tellers and train conductors who cooperated were rarely harmed, and Cassidy's calm, almost friendly demeanor during robberies earned him a strange kind of admiration, even from some of his victims. Newspapers began portraying him less as a killer and more as a clever, likable rogue. But charm alone couldn't stop what was coming for him. The railroads had grown tired of losing money, and they were about to fight back with everything they had.
After the Wild Bunch robbed a Union Pacific train in 1899, the railroad company assembled a specially outfitted posse train, complete with horses and bloodhounds, ready to pursue any gang member across any terrain. The relentless pressure made it nearly impossible for Cassidy and his men to hide anywhere in the American West for long.
Cassidy realized something that most outlaws never accepted in time. The era of the frontier outlaw was ending, and staying meant eventually being caught or killed. In 1901, Cassidy, the Sundance Kid, and Sundance's companion Etta Place sailed to South America, settling in Argentina and attempting to live as legitimate ranchers. For a few years it worked, but old habits were hard to leave behind, and by 1905 the pair had returned to robbing banks, this time across Argentina and Bolivia. Their new life on the run in a foreign country was about to lead them to a small mining town in Bolivia and to one of the greatest mysteries in outlaw history. In November 1908, 2 American outlaws matching Cassidy and Sundance's description robbed a payroll shipment near San Vicente, Bolivia. Bolivian soldiers surrounded the house where the pair was staying. A gunfight broke out through the night. By morning, 2 men were found dead inside, believed by many to be Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. But here's what almost nobody expects. No official identification was ever confirmed, and that single missing detail changed everything. Because the bodies were buried quickly in a local cemetery without formal identification, doubt began almost immediately. Family members in Utah later claimed Cassidy had secretly returned to the United States and lived under a false name for years afterward, dying quietly of old age. Forensic investigators exhumed the Bolivian grave decades later, but the remains did not match either outlaw. To this day, no one can say with absolute certainty what really happened in that small room in San Vicente. Butch Cassidy became one of the most famous outlaws in American history, remembered not for brutality, but for intelligence, charm, and a criminal career built almost like a business plan. Whether he truly died in that Bolivian shootout or quietly lived out his final years back home in the United States remains one of the great unsolved mysteries of the American frontier. If you want to see more real stories from the deadliest men of the American frontier, the next video in this playlist is waiting for you right now. Subscribe to Old West Untold and ride along.